Hey, good morning, evening, afternoon, everybody, and welcome to this first in a series live stream for the DGX Spark, an exciting new product launch from NVIDIA. So glad that we could get together today for the community to answer some questions. We're going to be doing this as a series, but with me today, we've got some amazing guests to cover the DGX Spark. And so really quickly, I just wanted to introduce, we've got Manini Sharma, who's one of our product managers here on the DGX Spark. We've got Piyush over here, who's our technical marketing engineer, and then Alan Burgoyne, who is also our product marketing manager. And I am Mark Heaps, Director of Developer Community at NVIDIA. And so, oh, look at those lovely faces up there. We've got a slide officially on screen. Perfect. Thanks. And of course, behind the closed curtain here, we've got our producer, Zach, backstage, helping make everything work for y'all. Make sure you guys tell us where you're joining the stream from today in the chat and the comments. We've got a lot to cover, and we also want to make sure we have some time to get to your questions. So with that, I guess let's do a quick hi to everybody and get some announcements and opening remarks. Alan, should we start with you?
Hi, everybody. Alan Burgoyne, product marketing manager, as Mark mentioned, and I've been working on Spark for a long time, and finally glad to see it's getting in the hands of developers out there and seeing all the exciting things people are doing with it. So really exciting time for us here.
Excellent. Manini, do you have any opening announcements for everybody?
This is the best thing you can buy.
You brought one. I can't believe you brought one. Oh, look at you guys.
Okay. Mine actually plugged in at home and used.
Mine hasn't even arrived yet, so I can't. I'm gonna pretend we can AI this in later. I'll just do this like I'm holding a burger. Piyush, any welcome announcements from you, sir?
Yeah, just hey everyone. I'm Piyush Medikiri. I'm the technical marketing engineer. I've been working on Spark for a while now. I'm super excited to answer any questions that you guys have. So yeah, let's get it started.
I love it. I love it. Well, I think we're gonna dive right in because, you know, overwhelming the sentiment from the market, from the community that we've been engaging with. Everybody is really excited about the Spark and what it's going to enable. There's obviously also a lot of curiosity. You know, this is a completely new platform. It's a completely new approach in thinking, how do I start deving, you know, with my project. So I think I want to start a discussion here first of, why would you use DGX Spark versus the alternatives we've seen people mentioning on social media, what they've said in the forums and on the different Discords? So let's start there. Like, why would you use the Spark? And let's try to make that really clear for everybody.
Sure. You know, when we first came up with the concept of Spark, we were looking at addressing two issues that AI developers face on a pretty regular basis. One is I don't have enough local memory. And number two, maybe my favorite system I like to work on doesn't have access to the right software stack. I want to get the job done. So either one of those two comes up, you're forced to move out to the cloud. And in some cases, that's fine. But in other cases, maybe it's expense you didn't plan on, or maybe the data center, you got to go fight and contend with resources from other jobs. So it may not be the best for you for productivity standpoint to do that. And so we wanted to give you another option. And that's what Spark is. It complements what you have. You don't have to give up your favorite laptop or desktop. You can have a Spark where you can send those jobs normally that might go to those other places there and stay with right on your desktop.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was talking to a CTO the other day. They have their Spark, and they said, you know, the great thing for them about this is normally when they're deving on their own workstations and they're running some large project, it basically bricks their workstation because it's using so much memory. They can't do anything else that they would standard do. So the Spark really gives you that scalability solution as an extension of their existing systems, right? Manini, I know you're in love with the Spark, though. So for you, what's the value prop that you know you've been excited about?
Yeah, so when you look at the needs of the AI developers today, right, and the devices that are available, there was clearly a compute gap. Mm-hmm. You know, we had to find that sweet spot of memory size and bandwidth and the overall compute capability in a form factor that fits on any enthusiast enterprise, you know, SMB developer, where they get that resource, but they are able to keep everything on-prem, right, and experiment and prototype as they need. So the culmination of these things that we read from the market and our developers is led to creation of Spark.
Awesome. Well, I think I see lots of questions and comments coming in. This is very, very exciting. People are really engaged over here. But let's get into that a little bit. So let's talk about some of these specs, like, as far as the AI software stack and the ecosystem, what maybe don't people understand? Piyush, maybe this is a good place for you to dive in and talk a little bit about the ecosystem. What makes this novel? What makes this different? What aren't people understanding right out of the gate?
Yeah, sure. So I, being a developer, I have faced this issue multiple times that when I move from, one machine to another, it maybe does not support the full NVIDIA stack, or maybe does not have the tools that I want to use, right?
Mm-hmm.
But with this, what I was able to do was out of the box, I was able to run multiple tools, multiple frameworks, all of it which was supported by NVIDIA CUDA AI stack. And I was just able to get started out of the box. So things like VLLM, SGLang, TRT-LLM, and OLAMA, anything related to that. Not just that, but also we have other tools like, GPU accelerated database, data storage, and all this stuff. So that was one very, very excellent thing for me to, turn on the Spark and have these tools be able to run seamlessly without much of a hurdle. So that was one good thing that I really, really loved about DGX Spark.
That's awesome. Yeah. And obviously this is the earliest days of the birth of the Spark, and it's only going to keep getting better as we make improvements. Exactly. I see some people, I want to make sure we address things today, because I know that, live streams, we have candid conversations. I see a lot of people bringing up the topic of price, and there's different types of questions around that. So Alan, I'd love to direct this one over to you. What are the thoughts on price? What was the decision making here? Early announcements, where we are today. Let's give everyone an update.
Yeah, I see lots of questions, and we'll talk about a few aspects. One is when Jensen announced it way back at CES, so we were still Project Digits was the intro name. He mentioned a price point of $29.99, and you'll see if you want to buy the NVIDIA edition, it's $39.99. And the reason why we originally announced that it was going to have a couple of different options, really based on storage, 2 GB, 4 GB, based on what was available at the time. The NVIDIA version has 4 gig storage locally, right? 4 terabyte drive, excuse me. So it's got a 4 terabyte drive. So that costs a little bit more. But if you look at our other partners, they have some with less storage. They have a 1 terabyte drive on there, and those are at $29.99. So and it looks like some of them will offer other sizes in the future. So that's where the main price difference is. But I know a lot of people compare to cloud, and they'll see, what about an A100 hours in time? But you got to remember what Spark can do. It's a Grace Blackwell. It is a Blackwell GPU. So it supports things like FP4. It's got 128 gigs of memory. So if you're going to get a cloud instance and you want to do FP4, you're not going to get the budget bargain basement cloud instance out there, right? You're going to have to spend a little more money and get a little nicer instance with the Blackwell GPU. You're going to have to make sure you have at least enough memory if what you're trying to do in the desktop role is there. So in those cases, again, you could still rent, but in a very short period of time, or for renting that, you could own a Spark. And if you're like me and you always got to go ask for budget and questions whenever you want to do something in the big corporate environment, sometimes that little cap asset hit is probably easier than the long-term expense like a cloud. But it depends where you work and what you want to do. But so when we talk about price, that's the questions I get a lot, and hopefully that answers a lot about questions on prices. We know there's a lot of options out there. Do the thing that's best for you, right? We're saying a Spark gives you another option, a nice option that you might want to consider.
I thought it was funny, and I'm gonna troll ourselves here. I thought it was funny that someone said in a response to a social thread, "Why does it cost so much?" And they AI generated an image of someone wearing a 1980s gold bling hip hop necklace with a Spark under it. They said, "'Cause it's gold, yo." But obviously that's not the real reason. There's some real technical specifications in here.
And even if we were building it, price went up, cost went up. So anytime you're coming to that project, anybody who's ever built a house or anything event, it takes any time, prices go up right along the way. And so we're not immune to that. And so,
yeah, absolutely. Well, I think this also brings in, you sort of introduced the topic segue there, which is, who is the DGX Spark for? We kind of touched on it early on, but when people are comparing that to like using A100s in a cloud environment for price and some of these other environments, I think that kind of misses the point of the use cases. And who is this really for? I can tell you, in my own network with our developer community, the amount of people that reached out to me about privacy and the capability of using that versus having to use walled gardens via cloud service providers. So who wants to start? It feels the most impassioned about this. Who is the Spark for? Who wants to jump in on this one?
I don't know, Manini, you want to start with that one,
Yeah.
and I'll jump in after.
Awesome.
Sure. So this device has been purpose-built to deliver to AI development. Now, an AI developer could be somebody who's just been doing regular development and wants to get into AI, and going up to, the people who were at the forefront of AI innovation, right? So for each of these people and everybody else in between, we wanted to make sure that we democratized AI to the level that anybody who wants to develop is able to develop. This includes researchers, students, like I mentioned, enterprises, small businesses, startups. If you're out there and you want the best platform with the best software and have that right balance of large memory and a suitable bandwidth, this is the device for you.
Awesome. Any other
Yeah,
thoughts, Alan?
I would like to just add a few points there. For me, when I started using it, as I said, I always faced this issue that I was not able to run either a big model or have the appropriate tools to run it. So for me, as a prototyping device, it acts as an excellent device for me to try out these new NVIDIA software stack and new frameworks which are coming up. And then once I'm happy with it, I can probably, use the same kind of workflow and replicate it on cloud when I need it for trying to serve a higher number of audience for inference or stuff like that. So yeah, for me, it has acted as a very, very good prototyping device.
Yeah, when we did our seed partners, one of the best videos I got from one of them was, I have my Spark in my basement and my colleague is actually SSH'd into it over Wi-Fi from their flight, thousands of feet up in the air. And they were like, it's still our private environment.
Right.
It's this few $1,000s. And as a team, we're collaborating on it. And we haven't even scaled it up to multi-device yet, which is something we'll talk about a lot in a future stream. But Alan, I think you wanted to talk a little bit about some of these workflows as we consider, who is the Spark for? So maybe we should talk about workflows for a second.
We can talk about that. If your goal is just, an enthusiast and you want to run LLMs and you want to see what's out there and benchmark and test devices, great. Not really what the Spark is for, right? It definitely runs LLMs, but it wasn't built to be the most powerful LLM system on the planet. It's just a part of the developer workflow. So if you're an AI developer and you want to experiment, you want to prototype, you want to test, you want to fine tune, great applications. Because a lot of these systems that are more general purpose computers have a lot of memory bandwidth because some of the other tasks they do require that, but they don't have a lot of compute. If you look at, they're an MPU based system. They don't have a lot of tops. They're in the hundreds, where we're like at a petaflop here in Spark. So we tried to build a more balanced machine, really looking at the developer workflow. And so fine tuning is a great example of that. And I think if Zach's got a video queued up for us, we can watch a fine tuning example here. Where
is
that
the Flux demo?
Yeah, the Flux demo. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, let's do that.
And so we can take a look at this. And then Piyush, I think you've run through this. I did this myself the other night in my Spark, but maybe you could talk about it, about what's going on here when we bring that video up, and how Spark is a great test bed for these kinds of workloads.
Yeah, and maybe I can answer the question in the chat as well. There was a question if we can fine tune a higher precision model, right? Like FP16, and that's exactly what we are doing here. So we had a bunch of images, basically of of Jensen and DGX Spark, and we took the diffusion model and fine-tuned it with probably 8 images or 10 images of both Jensen and Spark, and we were able to produce a really good,
So yeah, this is what we got originally, right? We just typed in Jensen and Hola Spark, so not a great, not a great result.
And Alan, how much memory was it taking? Do you remember, approximately?
Zach, if you could bring up that image, I ran this on my Spark the other night, and I was at 110 gigs of memory.
And I'm guessing it was the base model with FP16 precision.
Yeah, FP16 precision with just those. I think it was like a handful of Jensen images, a handful of Spark images.
Here you go.
Here, I was at 110 on my machine.
All right.
And I ran it through the full 100 epochs on there with the images, and so if we go back, you can see eventually this thing will finish. And I can go back to the video, Zach, and you could see what happens when we do the prompt afterwards. So
let's see, we get our switch going here.
Video back.
Yep. Real-time live stream.
There you go. And
There
so here we go with the same prompt again. And as Piyush mentioned, we trained it. And
I think this is still the old one, maybe. Let's see.
Is that the beginning of it? Yeah, we started over again. You might want to scrub up through that a little bit.
Yeah, go up to about 60%.
Yeah, get us about a little better than halfway, so we get to where we have the prompt again. I think this thing kind of rolls a little bit longer. It takes you about 40 epochs, and then it'll go ahead and hit the prompt again. Let's tune it. But it does take a couple of hours. I think my machine ran for a few hours to do this. I wasn't paying attention to it too much. But once you get there again, you'll see now use the train model, same prompt.
I know a lot of people actually trying out with their own images, and the results were really amazing. I have not tried it yet. That is something that is in my bucket list yet to try. So I'm going to try it.
I'm going to see if I can be holding a Spark. I'm going to put my own images in there and see. But
there you go.
Yeah.
And then the end result.
Perfect.
It sort of blows my mind that, I mean, conceptually, this wasn't even on the radar of people's workflow and platforms for workflow even, 18 months ago. This idea of like having to subscribe and provision systems for so many hours. And now, I mean, again, theoretically, you could be sitting in the desert somewhere and generating things and prototyping. I keep joking I'm going to take mine on a camping trip, but I got to get it first.
Yeah, so it just shows you, as Piyush mentioned, that, this is an FP16 model, so full precision. We're able to tune that. I believe it was somebody asked about the sizes on the chat. I think there were like maybe 6 or 8 images of Toy Jensen and maybe a dozen of the Spark. So and they were all 1K images, I believe, in the original data set. So we wanted to maintain a decent bit of quality. So
awesome. And then I think there was another use case that you wanted to talk about here with regards to was it the VSS demo, or we did the memory usage, but there was another one that you wanted to talk about here.
Yeah, so we had a couple one, and I know Piyush, you've been working as on video search and summarization, very popular, right? I think a lot of people
absolutely
ask about that. I don't know if we want to show. We had a video of that, but I don't know if we want to show it or not. But popular use case, if we got that around queued up, that one may have audio, but maybe we can kill the audio, and Piyush, maybe you can talk on top.
Yeah, I think that would work. Is that the VSS demo?
Yeah.
Yeah,
that one on standby.
Zach's behind the curtain pushing all the buttons. There we go.
All right. In this one, I think basically what we are trying to show is we are running a VLM model locally on Spark and also a LLM model. And we are ingesting a video to identify how many boxes, or if there are any boxes which are deformed, right? It's an event alert, basically event reviewer scenario, where if you want to give some specific instruction that, hey, in this video, identify whether the boxes are deformed, or if you can identify a red box or something like that. And all of this, you can run it locally on Spark because by taking advantage of its unified memory of 128 GB, right? And if you want to scale it up even further, you can also connect it to other models which are running somewhere remotely. And you can just change the endpoint to point there and run even bigger model with higher precisions, or if there are multiple concurrent user, that would probably be more helpful. So yeah, here you can see it successfully identified the cardboard box as deformed, and you can get all kind of metadata through it, and yeah, you can have it in your store, whether you want to identify anyone trying to shoplift something. If you have a very well-trained VLM model for that, you can run it on Spark and have something like this running. So this was pretty cool. Yeah,
that is super cool. And one question that I saw in some of the community forums was, is there any special considerations when a developer is building on Spark, that when they're gonna with their end-to-end total workflow, when they're really ready to deploy and go into whatever their larger deployment is there any special considerations, or is this all standard framework, standard tools? There's no there's no proprietary dongles, as some folks like to use in the industry. All normative.
Yeah, I mean, everything is standard as far as I can say. If you're happy with your workflow, you can deploy it similar to how you would deploy it in your production environment, right? And have it up and running without any changes. So that's pretty much it.
All right.
The
Well, I
beauty
know.
of our, sorry.
No, please go ahead, Manini, please.
Yes, and the beauty of what you just saw is a lot of these like diffusion models and vision models are very compute bound and graphics bound, and that is where our Blackwell in the palm of your hand is shining, right? And that is something that people sometimes misunderstand, is because they're so inference focused, which is more memory bandwidth intensive. But for going deeper and deeper into more focused AI development, you will find that using the compute-bound workloads as well as the AI stack that NVIDIA is developing on the cutting edge, those are critical to those.
Right. And important to note, I saw some questions around the. It's a full Blackwell GPU here, so it does have the CUDA cores, but it has RT cores and it has Tensor cores, so it is a full Blackwell GPU. And so if you have AI workloads that want to do visualization, want to do rendering, you can do it all there on the Spark. And again, prototype and experiment to your heart's content and view it however you like. If you want to have a beautiful ray trace image as the result, it will do it and take advantage of those RT cores.
There was a lot of questions about ray tracing. There was a lot of questions like that in the comments. And I think I'm going to keep beating the drum because I feel like I have to, but it really brings up the point again that this is not what we would consider a replacement alone for your workstation, right? It's the yes and environment. That's really the way to think about it. Is that correct?
That's a good way to think about it. It complements everything you have today, your laptop, your desktop, your cloud, your data center. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I've never said I want less compute on my desk. Maybe I'm alone there. But if someone gives me more, I'm gonna take it. And so Piyush is probably in a bigger situation than I with more compute on the desk.
Yeah.
So I do want to highlight at this point again the fact that it can work as a companion AI, workhorse. You can do your regular productivity on a device of your choice and offload all your AI workloads onto the Spark and just let it do its thing.
Perfect. I use it as my vibe coding partner a lot of times.
Oh, really?
Like I connect it with my VS Code, and then I have my local model running here so that I don't share my code anywhere online, and everything is locally running. So that helps me quite a lot.
Yeah, I can't wait until in the future streams. And just to let everybody know, we're going to be doing these weekly. So we're going to have lots of things to feature, but I can't wait till we can start showing some of the things that partners have been building with this, because while the enterprise stuff is super fun, and obviously that's everybody's job, there's also just some really cool, novel projects that we're going to show. So make sure you guys come back next week as well, and we'll start showing some of those projects out there, because it really shows the capability and the capacity of the device.
There is an excellent question there in the chat, which is around data science and the Rapid Suite. I'm happy to share that is one of our really shining use cases of Spark. You can run data science, the entire Rapid Suite, and keep your data on the large SSD. And that's one of the thought processes that we had, was to how to allow developers to keep all of that experimentation prototyping data on-prem for something like data science, genomics, research, physics, all of those.
Awesome. Yeah, I think it's safe to say that it's agnostic of any particular vertical. If you're using it for data science and research, if you're using it as your vibe coding partner, if you're using it for prototyping your application for warehouse environment and automation, it's capable of doing all those things, right? Which is good. Well, with that, I know we're coming up on time. Let's make sure we keep going through some other folks' questions here. I'm going to go to some of the ones that our team behind the scenes have starred. The first question here is, will there be an NVIDIA FP4 model hub for FP4 quants of popular models?
Yeah, so on the Hugging Face website, we do have our NVIDIA Hugging Face repo. And in those, under that, we do keep publishing all the FP4 quantized models. So we'll as we move forward, we'll keep on increasing the FP4 models that you can try out. But yeah, that's the place you want to keep an eye out for FP4 models.
All right, perfect. Then our next one here. I know we're gonna do an episode, one of the live streams about this, but let's maybe touch a little bit on it.
Sure.
So Sunny here has a question that says 2 DGX Sparks can be connected together to work as one unit. Will 3 be any playbook or a demo? So basically, what's the scalability discussion? What's the people are eager about this, because I get reached out about this by our developers. I'm doing a hackathon and meetup this weekend, and people are like, when can I put more Sparks together? So what's the official word? Alan, you want to jump on this one?
You want to give the marketing answer, or you want to give the product?
Let's do both. Let's do both. Let's well,
I
look,
can start by saying, I can start by saying we hear you.
Yes.
So I know the interest is out there and people want to, want to scale it. We are starting with the 2 unit stacking, which gives you double the capacity and work with larger and larger models. And we understand that there is an ask, and we will look into that.
And I'm going to ask for a question on that. So just theoretically, we're just throwing it out there. If you put 2 Sparks together, we're not talking about benchmarks or speed, but what is the biggest model that you think that could handle?
What did we run so far? We've run 400 plus. Huh?
400 B plus?
And that depends on your quantization as well, right? So I was able to run a full DeepSeek model using the 1-bit quantization, right? So there is this very excellent repo called ik_llama.cpp. I tried that, and I was able to run a full DeepSeek or even a GML model, which was amazing to see.
Yeah, and I do get asked a lot of people, what if I've got a switch? Can I plug more things? We don't do anything in the software hardware to prevent you from, so it's not there's no artificial limit or anything in there. We just haven't tested, and we can't guarantee what your experience is going to be.
Right.
So to Manini's point, it's not in the plans yet. Can never say never. So if people try it, they can try it. We just can't guarantee what your experience. We know people will try it. I've had people tell me they're going to try it, but we don't do anything in the hardware software to prevent you from doing that. But we can't guarantee your experience at this point.
And I'll just give the shout out. If you do something really interesting and novel with the Spark, let us know. Tag us on social, send us a DM, email the team, join the Discord. We want to know what cool things you're building with the Spark, right? Like, because we're putting this out, but we're also learning from you, right? And that's very, very important for us. Okay, so there's another question here from Stefan. Shout out Stefan. The question is the Spark designed for training or inference or both? And how does it compare in compute to the RTX 5000 series? So I think this is probably one of the most common questions that I've seen, because we have so many amazing products. Where do they go and why? But training or inference, what's the official line here?
I can take I can probably just add a few pointers there. So for me personally, because fine tuning takes up a lot of memory, right? Mm-hmm. And I generally primarily would use it as a fine tuning device, but I'm not restricted to just that, right? We know that there is a bandwidth limitation, and if you were to move to high, high-end 50 series graphic cards, right? The memory bandwidth there is higher, right? So if you want to use it as an inference device, maybe you'll see some trade-offs between there. But for fine tuning, because it's more compute bound, I think I would use Spark more for fine tuning than inference. But again, not restricted just by fine tuning. I can use it as an inference device as well, if need be.
Yeah, I think in general, especially when you get to the high-end cards like the 5000 series and things like that, is if it fits in memory, you're going to have a good experience, right? No matter what your workload is. And that's kind of a good rule of thumb. And Spark is there for when it doesn't, right? If even on our Pro cards, we top out at 48 gigs now on our 5000 series of Pro GPUs. So if I want to run a model beyond that, I can't. I can do it on my Spark. So again, that's a kind of a good rule of thumb. If the workload fits there on your discrete GPU, you're probably going to be happy with the NVIDIA GPU there. If it doesn't, Spark gives you another option for extra compute that you can just have right there on your desk and just use it.
Awesome. Well, man, we have so many really good questions in the chat here. I'm going to choose this one that's actually in the live chat from Nijar. Sorry if I got your name wrong, but I'm going to put it on screen, Zach. It says, can DGX Spark integrate directly with Nemo microservices and TensorRT LLM pipelines without external optimization layers? I feel like this is in your neck of the woods, Piyush. You got any thoughts on this one?
Yes, so currently, if you take a look at our Playbooks website, that's the best place to start developing with Spark. We do have, easy to follow guides where you can run TRT LLM on Spark and do fine tuning with Nemo. So as we move forward, we'll obviously keep on improving the support for all these tools. But out of the box, yes, we do support Nemo, TRT LLM, VLLM, all of it out of the box. So yeah.
Excellent. Manini, any other thoughts?
No, he got it right. We just wanted to check, like, if we have more time, or should we start looking at
it? Yeah. Well, I want to get one last question here because I think there's a nice segue into Alan's piece, which is from @Kriller on YouTube. Says, will the GB10 in the Spark also become available for OEM so it can be used in other embedded boards and systems? So I think there's probably a slide about this that we can bring up, and this will be a good way to start wrapping down the show today.
So yeah, kind of a twist on the ask, but the first off, we showed the slide. We do have partners who are going to offer GB10 systems, and here they are today. And they're all starting to be available now. So if you have a preferred vendor that you like to deal with, they're all based on the Spark technology in that platform. And so you can buy one of these. They've got the GB10 in there. They all have the Connect X. So I think the question was, are they going to be embedded boards like Jetson? No, that's more of our Jetson line where you can buy the embedded systems. As of today, we don't have any plans to offer the Spark motherboard as a separate standalone device that you can embed in other products. So that's not currently what it's for. But all these systems are available from our partners, and you can get whatever flavor you like and get it from your favorite partner.
And I think just to touch on this a little bit, also there is some slight config differences, right, Alan, so that the pricing will adjust across the OEM partners.
Yep, the main difference is going to be in the storage, whether you go with a 1 terabyte or 4 terabyte. And so again, we went with the 4 terabyte, and our partners will have some available at a lower cost price point with the 1 terabyte. All the partners set their own prices. Ours is kind of suggested price for our configuration. But check with them and through their channel partners and however you prefer to buy for actual pricing there.
All right. Well, Zach, if you could bring us back up here. Oops, and we got a side view going on. Here, we can group everyone together. I know we're at time for our stream. I want to say a big thank you to Manini, Alan, and Piyush for joining today. I know you guys are slammed, and you did just launch a completely new product at NVIDIA, so it's rare that we can pull these folks away. But the questions from the community have just been so driven and curious. They're so excited about it. And we're just going to have updates that we can share with you week over week. We're going to have novel partner applications that we're going to be bringing in to demonstrate to folks. We're going to talk more about scalability. There'll be some how-to videos. They won't all just be Q&A product introductions. So make sure you join us every week here to find out more updates about Spark. And then we'll also be looking for what our partners are doing with it, with the SG Langs and other folks out there, and just seeing where this thing can go. So thank you all for joining today in the stream, and we will follow up more and see you next week. All right. Thanks, everybody.
All right.
Appreciate you.
Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.